Welcome to the user training series for Show the Way, the street outreach mobile app from Simtech Solutions. Case management, the client record. In this module, our objectives will be to learn how to complete the client profile, log case notes in the client record, and view the History tab to see past interactions that have been logged with the client. Let's get started by accessing the main navigation menu by tapping on the Show the Way icon or dragging out with your finger on your phone or mobile device. Then you can select Case Management. On the next screen, you have three buttons. The first is Start Interaction. This is the option you would use if you're directly working with a client in real time and want to be able to log an interaction and have that appear on their History tab. The next is Lookup Client. This option allows you to view information about the client without having to directly log an interaction. You can see their history, case notes, other programs and organizations that may be working with the client, and their profile information. Finally, you have My Clients, which is a shortcut to a list of clients that you've had interactions with or have been added to your caseload. When entering client data, it's important to remember to check your My Settings on the right-hand side to make sure that your active project assignment is the correct one that you'd like your data tied to. If you need to update your project assignment, you can select your other additional projects from the drop-down as applicable and then hit the Save Assignment button. Let's take a look at the Start Interaction workflow. After you tap the button, you'll be asked to confirm your location. This is the location that the interaction will be tied to for this client, both in the app and the Regional Command Center. Most users will simply need to tap the Next button. You can adjust your location on this map if it doesn't show your precise location. You can also zoom in and out on this map. After hitting the Next button, you'll be asked to look up the client. This is one of the features that Show the Way uses to help reduce the number of duplicates that may be created for client records. You can search by their first or last name, a nickname or alias, or their date of birth. You don't have to have all of this information available at once. You can search by any of these fields. Let's start by looking for a client named Valerie and hit the Search for Client button. In this case, no clients were found matching that information. If there had been clients with the first name Valerie in the system, they would appear in a list here. We'll go ahead and hit the Create New Client button. We can see the information that we had searched by is already filled out in this form. We have the option to also upload a photo or take a live photo by hitting the camera icon. We can also include information such as their first or last name, a nickname or alias, and then you'll start to see some of the additional fields that may be required for different homeless management information system data elements. Show the Way allows you to go ahead and save the client even if you don't have access to all of this information at this point in time. Communities who use Show the Way to collect all required data elements for HMIS for their programs will see the current living situation screen next. Other communities will simply have a success notification that the client has a new connection with their program, and you can tap OK. Next will be on the Client Profile tab of the client record. On the Client Profile screen, we can see a summary of some of the information that has been entered into the system. We can see the photo that has been uploaded for the client, and we also have access to shortcut buttons to either call or text a client or send them an email if that contact information is available. To see the full profile or edit these details, simply tap the Client Details button. You can upload a new photo if you need to and make edits to any of the information on the profile. If you see a text box, simply tap within the box and the keyboard on your phone or mobile device will appear and you can type in the information. If you see a drop-down arrow, that means there is a list of response options and you can only select one. Be sure to scroll through these as sometimes they don't all initially appear. If you see a checkbox, that means that you can multi-select all of the options that apply for that particular client. Show the Way does not require all of these fields to be captured in order to continue working with the client. This allows the street outreach teams to build that relationship and record over time. At the bottom of this screen is where you can input the phone and email for the contact information, and you also have the option to tag a client for priority. This will add an exclamation point icon to their profile name in the list when you look up a client or hit the My Clients button, and these clients always appear at the top of your list. You can save the client anytime that you've made changes. The fields we've looked at so far in the Client Details page are standard across all communities who use Show the Way. There is the option to use the Other Client Details button and have specific surveys loaded here that are unique to your community. Here are a few examples of some of our standard template surveys that can be added here as well. To access any of these surveys, simply tap on the button, and then you'll be able to input the information that is requested in that survey. And hit the Submit button. The survey color turns green to indicate that a response has been logged for that survey. These can be submitted multiple times so that the most up-to-date information is collected and captured. Once you finish submitting the surveys on the Other Client Details page, you can hit the back arrow and you're taken to the Client Details page where you began. Remember to hit the Save Client button anytime you've added information to the Client Details page. We'll be taken back to the Profile tab, where we have the option of ending the interaction, or we can access the Case Notes or History tab. If we hit the End Interaction button, we're taken back out to the Case Management module's main menu. From here, we could start an interaction with a new client, look up a client, or check the My Clients list. If we look at the My Clients list, we can see Valerie has been added to that list, and she has the priority icon in the upper right-hand corner. From here, we would be able to open up Valerie's record again and see some more information about her, including recent interactions and who conducted those interactions. If we hit the View Client button, we're back in Valerie's record. We could do additional edits to her client details. We could take action to start an interaction with her and log a new location on the history map. We could access case notes or the history tab. Let's close the client for now and look up another client. I'm going to hit the back arrow and use the Lookup Client button. When we hit the Lookup Client button, we're asked again to either search for first or last name, nickname or alias, or date of birth. This time I'm going to search for Betty Smith. And hit the Search for Client button. In this case, we've had a record returned that matches our search. We can see a photo that's been uploaded for Betty, and we can use that as additional confirmation if this is the client we're working with. We can see that Betty has an alert, which is indicated by this red font and saying she has one alert. Betty also has a follow-up that's open, and her last interaction was conducted on January 28th, which was 11 days ago. I can confirm that this is the client I need to see additional information about, so I can select this button. If this wasn't my Betty Smith, I could create the new client with additional information about that particular client. Once we open the record, as we saw previously with Valerie, we get a summary of their information, including recent interactions and who conducted them, and we can hit View Client. This will take us into the Client Profile tab initially. One difference we'll see here is that instead of End Interaction, it says Close Client. If this is all that we needed to do, is just confirm Betty's information, then we could go ahead and hit that button and look up another client or start an interaction with someone who we're working with right now. Instead of closing the client, let's take a look at what additional information we can see about Betty. Next to Betty's profile photo, we can see that her client details page has had the contact information entered. So these will actually be buttons that you can tap to either send Betty a text or give her a call, or you can email Betty. Let's take a look at the Case Notes tab. The Case Notes tab is accessible either in an interaction or outside of one like we are right now. Show the Way uses 3 different types of case notes: alerts, follow-ups, and notes. Alerts are generally used for important safety-related information or if the client has come up for priority and coordinated entry. When alerts are added, an indicator icon appears on the Case Notes tab, and other indicators are available throughout Show the Way. When we looked at Betty's record, for example, we saw that she had an alert in her listing there. In the Encampments module, if you open a specific encampment that has a client staying there and they have an alert, you'll also get a pop-up notification. Be sure to check out the Encampments module training video in this series for more information. To see the details of the alert, simply tap the Alerts button. You'll be able to see the information that was submitted, who submitted it, and when they submitted it. You do have the option of closing the alert if it no longer applies or editing the details, but please be sure to do this only for clients and alerts that you have responsibility for. If you need to add a new alert, simply tap the green plus sign in the bottom right-hand corner and type in the details of the alert, and then save the alert. You'll see that the most recent alert is saved at the top of the list. And we can hit the back arrow. The second type of case note in Show the Way is a follow-up. Follow-ups can be used for important reminders that are available across the implementation, and other team members and organizations who are also working with Betty will be able to see those follow-ups, and they'll also be added to the shortcut button on the home page for follow-ups. If we tap on the button, we'll be able to see the follow-up that has been created here. We can close the follow-up if we've completed this. We can edit the details if we need to, or we can add an additional follow-up. If we hit the plus sign, we'll be able to update the priority of this particular follow-up. We can select a due date for this follow-up, and then we can make a note as to the specific details of this follow-up. And then we can save the follow-up. If we hit the back arrow, we can access the third and final type of case note for Show the Way, which is the General Notes area. If we tap on that button, we'll be able to see the notes that have already been logged for this particular client, and we do have the option of removing or editing. Again, please be careful to only do that for your own notes. Or we can add a new note by again hitting the green plus sign and typing in the note and then saving it. If we hit the back arrow, we'll be taken back to the Case Notes tab for this client record. Now let's take a look at the History tab. On the History tab, you can see both a list and a map view of the interactions that have been logged with this client. On the list view, you see the date of the interaction, how many surveys, if any, were conducted, and who logged the interaction. This information is shared across the entire implementation, so this is one area where you can see if other organizations or teams are working with your client. If you select an interaction, you can see the details, including the exact location that was logged, and you can zoom out on this map if you need to get a better sense of where that might be. You can also see additional information about who completed the interaction by tapping on this button and seeing the details here, including the phone number, so you could call or send a text to this outreach team member or send them an email. This is one of the tools of Show the Way that can foster collaboration and teamwork across your community. To see the details of the assessments that were completed, you can select the assessment that will be listed here, and then you'll be able to see what was submitted. You won't be able to edit this information from this tab, but you can see what was submitted by yourself or other team members or organizations. If we hit the back arrow, we can take a look at the map view of the interactions. This will allow you to get a sense of where a client may be found and their movement over time. If you select one of the pinpoints on the map, you'll be able to access a link to get directions using the navigation app on your phone or mobile device. And you can also use the View button to see the details that we were just taking a look at. We can hit the back arrow to take us back out to the map view. And we could select another interaction to see the details of, or we can navigate back over to the list view if you'd rather. Again, from here, you still have the option of opening the Case Notes tab and adding or editing those. You can hit Take Action if you'd like to start an interaction with this client and add a new pinpoint to the History tab, or you can edit their profile if you need to. We'll go ahead and close this client. We're taken back to the Lookup Client screen where we could look up another client, or we could hit the back arrow and either start an interaction with another client or check out the My Clients list. If we would rather go back to our home page, we can always just use this icon or swipe out from the left and go back to our home page. As we've discussed in another module of this training series, the home page has the My Clients and My Follow-ups buttons. To help you understand the connections between those buttons in the Case Management module, we'll take a look at those in this module as well. If we open up the My Clients button, we can see the list of clients who we've interacted with, including the new one that we added today, Valerie. From here, we could select any of the clients listed and access their case record. If we go back out to the home page, similarly, under the My Follow-ups button, we'll be able to see a list of clients that we've worked with who've had follow-ups logged. These may have been logged by ourselves or other team members or organizations across the implementation. If we want to see the details of those follow-ups, we would simply select the client record, view the client, and then navigate to the Case Notes tab and check out the follow-ups to see what is needed for this client. This could help you as you're planning your day to see who you may be visiting and what items they may need brought to them. For example, Betty could use some reading glasses, so maybe you could pick some up and bring those with you when you go to visit Betty. If you do, you would just want to make sure you close that follow-up so that other team members and implementation members know that that's been taken care of for Betty. And we can close the client. This concludes the training agenda for this session. There will be a separate module explaining how to capture HMIS enrollment data for clients in the Case Management module. If your community is using that feature of Show the Way, be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to check out the rest of the training videos in this series. If you need additional support, please email us at support@simtechsolutions.com.